Okay, well, we will get started then. Then I just want to make sure everyone can see my screen correct. Oh, no, doesn't look like it. Okay. All right, there we go. So we're going to get started. My name is Justine Barton. I'm the director of MOSAIC Training and Engagement for Azura. I have my bachelor's in multidisciplinary studies with a concentration in gerontology, a gerontology certificate, and a minor in psychology and human services. I also am a certified dementia practitioner, a dementia care specialist, a dementia interpreter, and I have some other various certificates. So this is my contact information, my cell phone number and email. So I want you guys to feel like you can reach out to me anytime if you have any additional questions relating to the material or just any questions in general. I'm happy to be a resource and help you. And if I don't have the answer you're looking for or the knowledge that's needed, I know a lot of resources that I'm happy to point you out to someone else that may have the information that you're looking for. So today we're going to be talking about communication. So good communication can really help people live well with dementia, understanding their needs, wishes, and emotions as they progress through their disease. There are many ways that you guys can support someone to communicate with someone with dementia, and I hope that this training will help you all with that. So first, we're going to talk about dementia and language. So all types of dementia affect a person's language abilities due to dementia damaging parts of the brain that control language. So how and when language challenges presents really depends on their personalities and the way that they manage these language challenges, as well as the type of dementia that they have, depending on, for those of you that were on the first one, depending on whether they have, Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, Lewy body, or frontal temporal dementia, as well as the stage that they're in. Language problems can also vary from day to day or be more or less of a problem at different times of the day. So this you might see with sundowning. So for those of you that don't know what sundowning is, this is when you tend to see someone with Alzheimer's disease be more confused or more agitated as the sun goes down. So typically it's kind of different for everyone, but typically it can be start to occur anywhere from 2 to 5 p.m. And so you might see that they have more challenges communicating during that sundowning time. And in some types of dementia, such as different forms of frontal temporal dementia, a person may start to have problems with language much earlier than other types of dementia. That's usually one of the first symptoms that's noticed. So dementia's impact on communication. You will commonly see difficulty in word finding. They may use words out of context or use familiar words repeatedly. So I might say like book instead of newspaper because they just can't get a hold of that specific word that they're trying to use. They may describe things rather than saying their name. So I might say, the thing you sit on instead of chair. Or, I need the room with the thing on the ceiling that the water comes out of, shower. When language fails, the use of gestures is more common. So that might be where they start to use their hands to try to show you and signify what it is they're trying to communicate. It takes them a longer time to comprehend and to respond to what we're saying to them because of their brain being impaired from the disease. They may speak in shorter sentences with limited words. and they may lose their train of thought more often. So they might start off with trying to communicate something to you and then just really kind of trail off because they forget where they were going. They may also speak less often. If they're not able to express themselves, this can really cause them to have a loss of confidence and feel anxious or depressed. And sometimes when someone's in the early stages and they realize that they're having these challenges, they can begin to withdraw and isolate because they don't want other people to notice, or they're embarrassed by it, or there's even fear that if someone notices, they might lose some of their independence. And then for those that English is a second language, a lot of times the disease will cause them revert back to their first language. And I've seen this. I had a resident, her first language was Polish. And so through the progression of the disease, she could still understand English, but she would speak to us in Polish. She had went back to her first language, and sometimes even mix it up, or sometimes when she'd be communicating, she might start out speaking English, but then go to Polish. And as someone progresses, you'll see this is more and more common that they'll go back to their first language. Sorry, I'm just letting some people in. And then with following a conversation, dementia also affects a person's thinking capabilities, which impacts their ability to respond appropriately or follow along in a conversation. So this can be because they don't understand what you said. They can't keep focus. Oh, if everyone could mute themselves, that would be great. Just so there's not background noise. Let me see. Okay, I think I muted everybody. When it's time to, when I ask for questions, or then you guys can unmute yourselves to ask questions. But this could be because they don't understand what you said. They have trouble keeping focus. They think more slowly, or they may be unable to put the right words together as a reply. So one critical element that is often missed when trying to share information with or get information from a person living with dementia is the value of changing our delivery process. When we carry on traditional conversations, we usually engage in a back and forth volley of information. So I'm actually going to read you guys all an example from Teepa Snow's book. For those of you that don't know who Teepa Snow is, she is a world-renowned dementia educator. I like to say she's the Michael Jordan of dementia care. She started out as an occupational therapist, and now she has her own company called Positive Approach to Care. She has her own website, a lot of amazing training, videos on YouTube. She even has a TikTok with different videos that can show different scenarios that are helpful. But she has a book called Understanding the Changing Brain. And I'm going to read a piece from it from chapter 6. Do you hear what I say? And this is a conversation between Teepa and Tom. And so in this exchange, Teepa and Tom both have intact abilities in all areas of communication. So Teepa is standing in the kitchen at the fridge, and Tom is in the living room at his computer. So I'm going to read you guys this conversation. Teepa, what do you want for dinner? Tom, I'm not at all that hungry. What do you have in the fridge that wouldn't be too much trouble and is lighter? Teepa says, it looks like I could do something with eggs, or I could make a soup from leftover vegetables and some canned beans I have. Tom, how about an omelet with some of the veggies? Teepa, okay, are you going to glass class after that? What time are you going to leave? Tom, I need to pick up Jason and get pliers, so about 6:30 or so. Notice how one comment leads to the next and how the person getting the message internalizes it and then processes it, and only then sends back a related but complex message of their own, moving the conversation and agenda for them, both of them. Second, I have to admit someone else into the Zoom. In this second exchange, Tom has signs of language change that are consistent with Alzheimer's in the early to mid stages of the condition. Teepa again is standing in the kitchen at the fridge, and Tom is in the living room at his computer. So I want you guys to see how this conversation changed from the first one. Teepa says, "What do you want for dinner?" Tom, "I'm not all that hungry." Oh, I'm sorry. That I was reading the first one. Okay, Teepa, "What do you want for dinner?" Tom, "What?" Teepa, louder, "What do you want to eat tonight?" Tom, "I'm going out tonight." Teepa, "I know that. I wanted to know what you wanted to eat for dinner." Tom, "I have gas class tonight. I've got to take something with me. Do you remember what it is?" Teepa, "I'm not talking about that right now. I'll tell you later. Right now, I want to know what you want for dinner." Tom, "Well, it sure sounds like you are talking to me right now. I don't remember what it is I'm supposed to take to class, but it is something that I need. I better call the guy who is going with me and see if we are going to get dinner on the way there." Teepa, she comes to the living room doorway and puts her hands on her hips, raises her voice, sounding both frustrated and a little angry. "What are you talking about? You are going to eat here before you go to class. Jason is going with you, and you have to get your pliers out of the workshop before you go. Now, for the last time, what do you want to eat for dinner?" Tom says, "Nothing. I'm not hungry. Why are you yelling at me?" So when someone has dementia, it is important to realize that the 3 language skills that are essential for processing and sharing verbal messages will need to be isolated and supported as unique and special skills. So those 3 skills are vocabulary, so the words, meaning the meaning of the content, comprehension, the receptive language, the ability to actually get the message, and then speech production, expressive language, the ability to give the message. So in this last exchange between Teepa and Tom, you could kind of see all of those challenges that Tom was experiencing and how Teepa was really getting frustrated with him because of those challenges, which really didn't help anything. So learning to provide, so some language modifications. So it's really important that we learn to provide combination cues that are visual, verbal, and tactile data can really enhance messages and provide and promote better comprehension. Slowing down the exchanges and using reflective speech as well as pauses and simplified options can result in very different exchanges. So there's really 3 important supportive phrases that can help when they are used in combination with pauses, inflections, visual cues, props, and partial reflective statements to confirm what was said or sought. So with seeking more non-specific information, as in saying, tell me more about it. Or with visual representation, could you show me how you would use it? Could you show me what you would do with it? Or show me how you do it? And then offering simplified options, either or, saying, would you like this or that? This or something else? And I'm going to kind of demonstrate that with the final section from the book, which is a repeat of the last conversation, but using the modifications we just talked about. And I want you guys to see the difference in how this conversation goes. So, and in this exchange, Teepa actually leaves the kitchen and goes to the living room doorway, carrying a wooden spoon in her hand, and knocks on the door frame to get Tom's attention. So she says, "Hey, Tom, sorry to interrupt." She pauses, making sure Tom is looking up at her before proceeding with the conversation. So this is very important. She then says, "I'm getting ready to fix dinner. Would you rather have soup or something else?" Tom, "Soup or something else." Tom pauses and seems to be thinking. Tom, what's the something else? Teepa realizes Tom doesn't want soup, but is not sure what the other options are. She thinks through her other options. Teepa says, "So not soup, something else instead. How about an omelet or a sandwich?" Tom, "An omelet or a sandwich? What's in the omelet?" Teepa, "How about eggs and cheese and some veggies?" Tom, "Eggs sound good, and I love cheese, but what are veppies?" Teepa, "So the eggs and cheese are good, but you aren't sure about the veppies. Let me show you what I've got, and you can see what you think." Teepa goes to the fridge and gets out the leftover cooked broccoli and onions and brings them back to Tom. Teepa, "Here are the things I have to put in with the eggs and the cheese for an omelet tonight." She pauses. Tom, "Oh, those things are fine. I like them. I just didn't want those veppies you were talking about." Teepa, "Great. I'm going to get to work fixing this. Can you come and set the table?" She gestures toward the kitchen and pauses, waiting for Tom to join her. So in this exchange, Teepa has mastered many skills, and she uses them well. When Tom doesn't know what veppies are, she doesn't need to correct his miscomprehension of the word veggies. Instead, she gets what she has from the refrigerator to show Tom so he can make the choice. She has let go of the idea that specific vocabulary is needed for communication, and that Tom can lob the conversational ball back over the net to her with each volley. She now uses more effective strategies to get the message in and to appreciate the message that is being sent. So did that conversation seem familiar? Well, the second one with the challenges, does that seem familiar to anyone, that you've maybe struggled with a conversation with your loved one? And so the last one really kind of shows using those modifications that we talked about to really have a more successful conversation, giving choices, not feeling the need to correct when they make a mistake or use the wrong word. And so this really highlights that communicating really does not require the use of language, and people who have dementia can still communicate with you. It just might be a little unconventional. And so what we have to do is really let go of our expectations for a successful conversation and really learn to more go with the flow. So some MOSAIC approach and techniques that we can use is you always want to use short, simple sentences. So a lot of times we might overwhelm someone with dementia by giving them way too much information. I see this happen all the time where, someone's asking, "Oh, where are we going?" And someone will say, "Oh, well, we have to, you have a doctor's appointment this morning, and then we have to stop at the dry cleaners, and then we're going to run to the grocery store to get something for dinner." That is way too much information for someone with dementia to process. That you really want to think of the mnemonic KISS. Keep it simple and short. Only tell them exactly what is needed to get there. We have to go to the doctor's office. Then maybe after the doctor's office saying, "We're going to stop at the dry cleaners." Then we're going to stop at the grocery store. But really with dementia, less is more. You want to make sure that you speak slowly and clearly. Ask one question or give one instruction at a time. Eliminate distractions. So be aware of the TV, radio, or other background noises, as that can really cause sensory overload, and it can be very difficult for someone with dementia to focus and listen to what you're telling them or asking them when there's a lot of different distracting background noise. Avoid interrupting. Allow them plenty of time for responding. As we know, their brain is impaired, so those messages going through their brain take a lot longer than for them to process. Use yes, no, rather than open-ended questions. Acknowledge what they say, even when you might not understand, they might not understand your question, or what they're saying maybe seems out of context. Show them that you've heard them and encourage them to say more. Using generic terms like tell me about that or tell me more. If they're happy about something, saying, oh, that's great. You might not have a clue what it is that they're excited about, but based on their nonverbals and their pitch and tone, you can tell that they're happy about it and go along with it. And they're going to be just as happy with that. But if you're sitting there saying, huh, what? I don't know what you're talking about, they might get upset with you. You want to always make sure that you're using words that provide encouragement and reassurance. Avoid sounding or appearing condescending or threatening. So be mindful of your stance, your gestures, and tone of voice, right? If you have your arms crossed or your hands on your hip, or you're tapping your foot, or you're sighing or flapping your arms, against your legs, that's all going to show that you're frustrated or irritated with them. And then think of what kind of response you're going to get back from them with that. Try to also listen to them in a different way. Pay attention to their nonverbal cues. As communication gets more challenging, you might have to more play detective to try to figure out what it is they're communicating by looking at their nonverbal cues and looking at the environment and what's going on around to try to figure it out. Like I was saying earlier about my previous resident, that Polish was her first language. When she had reverted back to that language and she would talk to me in Polish and I would reply back to English, people would say, oh, you understand Polish? And I'd say, no, I have no clue what she's saying. But I got really good at watching her facial expressions and her body language and looking around in the environment that I could typically figure out, okay, she wants more juice, or she's upset that someone sat in her seat at the dining room table, or she's upset about something, sad about something, I don't know what, but I'm going to console her and say I'm sorry and comfort her by hugging because I don't really know what's wrong. You want to try not to ever finish the person's sentences. Instead, try to look for clues in their body language, expression, and tone to maybe suggest words and check in with them to see whether you've understood them correctly or if you're on the right track. Use visual cues whenever possible. So that's something where you can say, we have to change your shirt, and you grab your shirt to show them, or pointing at the toilet, or different things like that. Because that way, if they're missing bits and pieces of what you're communicating, they can get the visual. And so some additional communication strategies is you never want to argue, criticize, or correct. That will never get you somewhere. If you're like in that conversation between Teepa and Tom, when he said veppies instead of veggies, if she would have corrected him and said, no, Tom, not veppies, I said veggies, that immediately could have shut him down or agitated him, because it's really pointing out his flaw, which really never works well, right, with any of us. When people point out mistakes that we make, our initial reaction is to get defensive. Do we want someone with dementia to get defensive? No. So I'm going to play this short little TikTok video by Teepa that really kind of shows that in the moment. And in her video, she always shows the wrong way and then the right way. So you can kind of see the difference in that. So 1 second when I pull that up.
Hang on, we're waiting to see if we can go for a walk outside.
Oh, I just put this one on.
Hey, Deepa, I thought you were going to change your shirt.
Well, I just put this one on.
No, see all the ketchup and mustard.
Well,
that
no,
was from earlier.
it's just a decoration.
No, the pink is the That's
It's
gross.
fine.
You can't look
It's
at
fine.
it.
Well, I'm fine. Just leave it alone. Why are you being so bad about all this?
Well,
Leave me alone.
take off your shirt.
I am not going to take my shirt off. Just forget it.
Oh, hey, Deepa.
Hey,
How you doing?
are you?
Good.
Oh, good.
I just had an idea.
Yeah.
Got these 2 shirts.
Oh,
I have this nice blue one there,
yeah.
or
I see it. Yeah. That's
or
one
this
of
one.
mine, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both really nice.
Oh, yeah. This one doesn't have the thing on it. Let me see that one. This one has this thing on it here.
Yeah.
Well, the one I have on, does it have, it has that on it,
It has it
too.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hey, Deepa,
yeah.
would you be willing to help me out?
For what?
We got to do a model shoot.
Oh, a model shoot. So you want me
One of these 2. Which one do you want?
Well, is it advertising the brand or just putting on what I like?
Putting on what you like.
I'll take the stripe one.
The stripe one. All right.
Yeah,
Undo that button up there.
I got it. Here, give me the shirt, and
Yeah.
I'll come out when I'm ready.
Well, I'll hold it here because I don't.
I've got it.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. I'll be right out. So do you want me to put this on over top of this or just this one?
I want just the blue one. That one here.
Okay, we'll hang it up.
There we go. Yep, I'll take care of that.
Okay, thanks.
All right, say cheese.
Hey, jeez. It was really important for Amanda to recognize I wasn't ready for her to watch me change shirts. So what I did is I did go ahead and change the shirt, but I came out wanting to know if I should put this one back on. If I had it over top of it, at that moment, leave it alone. See if you can get her to take it off during the fashion shoot.
Okay. 1 second when I get the PowerPoint back up here. There we go. So some things I just want to point out with that is you might have noticed that she gave her options, kind of the this or that, right? This shirt or this one. Never pointed out, you know, the stain on the shirt, and also used that, can you help me out with the photo shoot, right? Because if it would have been like something for her that you should do, don't you think this? She could have said, no, it's fine. I like what I have on, right? And then she would have been kind of stuck there. So instead, it's really that getting, oh, can you help me with something? And not getting into that arguing back and forth about, you know, the stain on the shirt. Because you see in the first encounter that really didn't work out too well. You really want to also get rid of the word no. This is the biggest thing I always say for people to take away is throw out the word no. No one likes to be told what they can and can't do. And a lot of times for when it's, for those of you that are caring for your spouse, right? No one likes their spouse telling them what they can or can't do. Or for those of you that are adult children, right? Your mom or dad don't appreciate you telling them what to do either, or what they can't do. So it's really best to use positive approaches instead. You know, if they're in the kitchen and you don't want them in the kitchen, instead of saying, no, you know, you're not supposed to be in here, you need to get out of here, it's going in there, oh, hey, what are you looking for? Why don't you take a seat? You've worked so hard today, and I'll grab you something to eat or something to drink or whatever it is. So that way you're still getting them out of there, but without telling them, no, they can't be in there, or telling them they did something wrong. It's really that positive approach instead. And then the big thing we also have to really do is to learn to embrace their reality. So as someone progresses, they might regress back in time where they think they're in their 30s. You know, they don't see themselves as being a 70 or 80-year-old person. They see themselves as being in their 30s and still having young children, or kind of wherever it is that they could be. And so what we really have to do is learn to embrace their reality rather than trying to pull them into reality. We have to go along with what they think. And so I'm going to play this video now, another short little TikTok video that really kind of demonstrates embracing their reality.
I think I'm getting out of here. I'm going home.
So let me start.
Mom, what are you doing?
I'm packing. I'm getting out of here. I'm going home.
What do you mean you're going home?
I'm going home. I'm not staying here anymore.
That's the boy's suitcase. What are you doing?
I'm putting my stuff.
This is where you, Mom, this is your bedroom. Where are you going?
I'm leaving and going home. This is not my house, and I'm not staying here.
What are you Mom?
I'm going. I'm taking my stuff and I'm going.
What? That's a pillow. What are you?
I know what I'm doing. Shut up.
Hey, Deepa, what you up to?
I'm packing. I'm going home.
Oh, you're going home?
Yeah. This is not my home, and I hate it here, and I want out of here.
Oh, this is not the right place.
No.
Oh.
Somebody came in here and put all my stuff here, and I'm not staying in this mess.
Yeah, this is not it.
No.
All right.
I've never agreed to all this.
Well, let's get it in there and zip it up so it's nice and safe, and then we'll take it out and we'll go where we need to go.
I think I can fit it all in one. I need another suitcase.
All right. Well, let's do that for now, and we'll get that out in the car.
Okay. All right. But I need another suitcase.
Yep.
All right.
We'll get another
one.
Yep, we'll get one.
Okay. Because I need to take everything.
Yeah, we don't want to leave stuff behind.
No.
All right. Well, let's get out and get going.
Okay.
You
All right.
head on out.
I need to go home.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
Door?
Yep, this is the one.
Okay. All right. Where's my coat? Packing up is usually an indication of distress. So when I pack, it means I don't want to be here. So let me know that you get it. Let me be somewhere else for a while. It's occupying my time. And there's really not a lot of harm here. It's just annoying.
Mom, what
Okay. So with that one, it was the I want to go home, right? Which is very common. So really getting into an argument about that, as you saw in the first clip, really didn't go well. Instead, she was really going along with, oh, you got to get out of here. And like Deepa said, a lot of times when someone's saying that, it's to show that they're in distress, that they're not liking where they are at that moment. Sometimes they don't even really know where home is. But home, if you think about it, right, when we've all had a bad day or we're upset about something, home is our sanctuary. It's our safe place. So a lot of times when someone with dementia is saying, I want to go home, what they're saying is they really don't like what they're going through right now, right? As you can only imagine, going through this disease can be very scary and very difficult. And when they're feeling that, that's why they might say things like, I want to go home. And so in more embracing their reality and saying, okay, you want to go home. I get it. You're not liking this. Okay, pack up your things, take them for a walk, go somewhere else, but not argue with them of, well, you're already home. This is where you live. Really is only going to agitate them and make things worse. It's also where A lot of times with embracing their reality, we also have to use therapeutic fibbing. So it's not lying when you're doing it with their best interest in mind. And I've seen a lot of spouses struggle with this because they've, been married for 40, 50, 60 years and are like, I've never lied to my spouse. But when someone has dementia, they're really not able to process things like they used to. That sometimes we have to do therapeutic fibbing. If they're looking for their parents who died 20 years ago, telling them your parents are dead, they've been dead for 20 years, and taking them to the cemetery to see their tombstones really isn't helpful. And I've seen and heard of people doing that before. That instead, that's where you need a therapeutic fib and say, you know what, your parents are on vacation right now. You'll see them later. It's a therapeutic fib. You're not doing it to be malicious. You're doing it to help them, to calm their anxiety or make them feel better. Why would we ever want to make someone relive the grief of losing someone that they love if they don't remember that that person has passed away? Same with, like I said, embracing their reality. When I've had a resident saying, oh, I have to go get my kids. Use the therapeutic fib of, oh, well, the kids are all at school right now. The bus doesn't drop them off until about 3:30. And they're going to drop them off here. So we don't want to go anywhere because we might miss the bus dropping the kids off. And then we won't know where they are. You want to try to also avoid making abrupt changes to their routines. A lot of times someone with dementia will become kind of a creature of habit. Interestingly enough, they don't remember that they, live at Azura, but they will know how to get from their room to the dining room, and they'll remember the spot that they sit in the dining room. So sometimes when that's disrupted, that can cause them to be confused or agitated because that was the one thing that they remembered and now it was taken away from them. We also have to remember to always respond rather than react. So with dementia, there are going to be a lot of surprises. But if we react to those situations, it's really not going to cause us to not get the reaction that we're looking for. So instead, we really have to learn to take a pause and try to respond to those situations. And so I'm going to play this next example that really shows what I'm talking about here with the responding rather than reacting.
Hey.
1 second, here we go.
Hang on, we're waiting to see if we can go for a walk outside.
Hey. Could you come here for a minute? Hey.
Yeah?
Hey.
Oh, my Lord. What have you done? What? Oh, my God, it's everywhere. What in the world?
I was trying to get some
call for help.
I was trying to get some help.
Oh my God. Let me get somebody to help me. Oh my God. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, can you come here?
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'll help. Oh yeah. Gotta get this. You're doing great waiting for me. Thank you. You are doing a super job.
Can you help me?
I'm working on it as fast as I can.
Okay.
You are doing a great job waiting. Boy, I gotta tell you, it's hard to wait when you need help, huh?
Yeah, I need some help.
You need some help.
Yeah.
Looks like you might need some help. You are right about that. So, hey. Wow, you have been one busy lady. Yeah, you got some stuff. Tell you what, I'm gonna help. and we're going to get up and come on with me. We're going to go, ooh, tell you what, I'm going to put something down. Yeah, we got some work to do. Here, let's come here. Let's see what we can do here. Accidents happen in dementia. Sometimes because somebody's abilities aren't what they used to be. And so someone goes to do something like have a bowel movement. Well, they're missing a sense of smell to know that they've, made a mistake. They're losing their ability to look around the environment and realize all the props they need. And they're trying their very best to take care of their own personal needs. It's an intimate situation, but then actually they lose track of what it was that just happened. So what do we have to recognize? Wow, that was an accident. So when I go in, I don't want to react, I want to respond. Whoa, that was a surprise. And it didn't smell good. Hang on.
All right. So with that, as you see, really the positive approach, not making someone feel bad for the mistake they made. You know that it's really, we're going to do this together. And you saw she used a lot of visual cues too, pointing at things, but never really made her feel bad for that mistake that happened. Because obviously in that reaction, that person's not going to want to cooperate. It's only going to make things worse. And so then with redirecting, we're going to talk about the best redirecting technique. So these are kind of the 4 steps you want to take to be able to redirect someone. So you want to acknowledge what they are saying, empathize, you get where they are coming from, you feel the same, compliment, this will really win them over, and then redirect. Too many times we just try to completely redirect them to something else. So they're saying, you know, I want to go home, and we're like, oh, well, you know, let's go do a puzzle. So instead, you really want to take these 4 steps. And so to kind of put it together and give you guys an example. So they're saying, I want to go home. With acknowledge, you're going to say, I understand you want to go home. With empathize, saying, you know, I want to get home too. And that's where you add in the compliment. And you know, you always kept such a nice home, and you made sure it was so warm and cozy. But before we go home, can you help me with XYZ? And that's when then you're going to use the power of invitation or the just right technique. So like we kind of talked about before, where asking them for help with you, because it's kind of everyone's human reaction is if somebody asks for help, you usually say yes. You're not going to say, oh no. But if you ask for help, they're more willing to do it than if you're trying to help them. A lot of times someone with dementia doesn't realize they need help, or they're in denial that they need help. And so I'm going to play this video that really kind of explains the just right technique or the power of invitation.
Number 1, I truly believe all people need to be needed. And one of the biggest holes and biggest gaps that we have when we talk about dementia is we don't give people a chance to nurture. We take all that away from them. We want them to be entertained. It's like living the rest of your life on a cruise ship, where you eat and you hang out, and you eat and you hang out. And I will tell anybody who's been on a cruise ship, raise your hand if you've ever been on a cruise ship, the first several days, if you've had a real busy life before then, it's kind of cool. I mean, it is. It's sort of like vacation. And then all of a sudden it hits you. It's like, well, shit, I'm done with this. What can I do? I mean, and you start, you're like, well, what am I going to do? I mean, I've done all that stuff. I already did that. I did that before. And yet there are some people who are like, I could be on the cruise ship forever. You know, there are a few people. It's not that many, though. Because after about the 10th day of the cruise, How many of you, when you get back, are like, okay, I'm ready to get off the boat now. This was great. Thank you very much. How many people spent more time on the port of calls as time went by? At first, it was like, I'm not going to get off the ship. But then it got to be, okay, I'm getting off the ship. I'm tired of this ship. I want to get off and do something different. What I'll tell you, when you have dementia, people have that experience a lot, where it's like, okay, this is enough. I want to get back to my life. I want to get back to how it was before. See, I'm an important person. I'm not just somebody on a cruise ship. I ran companies. I did stuff. You don't understand. I have a family. I can't just hang out here forever. And imagine if at the end of this conference, instead of going home, we said, okay, well, your room is right over here. And no matter what you said, we didn't listen. And we just kept saying, no, this is where you stay. And you said, no, I came for a conference. See, I've got things I've got to go do. I mean, this was nice, but let me out of here. And we kept saying, And you know what? If you keep using that cell phone, we're going to take it away because your family can't stand these phone calls anymore. And what if we locked you in? So no matter what you did, how many of you would start to get a little anxious and nervous and frustrated and start swearing at me and telling me this is ridiculous? I'm calling the police. You think I won't? You can't tell me what to do. So when I say this, I really mean we all too often sit in the driver's seat and don't realize they've been in the driver's seat for years and years, and all of a sudden we're asking them to move over and get in the back seat. And we don't even listen to them. This is not like a chauffeur limousine. This is like, I'm the boss, do what I say. The second thing I'm going to say is we give people very little to do when we take away things. We want them to be entertained by eating. We want them to be entertained by being entertained. And what we need to think about is what roles and responsibilities did they have? So how can we try to preserve some of that? How can we reimagine that so they still have a place and a person to be that makes sense to them? The third piece is that activities really can make a huge difference. What we provide and what we sort of set up and how we structure it and how we do it matters. Because if I come over and say, oh, look, aren't you looking pretty? Oh, my heavens, you're the cutest little thing. You're just cute as a button. Look at you. Here, you need to have something to drink, sweetheart. Here, have a little. Now, don't start. No, it's okay. It's all right.
No, I don't want it.
Now, stop. This is silly. Now, we don't do that. What does she have, PRN? Okay. Ativan is the right answer, by the way. Unfortunately, I mean, that's the most common one. And then finally, what I'll say is we need to provide the just right challenge here. And if you're not doing it just right, it's not going to be successful. So, Cindy, hey, how are you doing this morning? Let me put this down. I've got too many things in my hand, don't I? Listen, I wanted to stop by. I want you to try, I got some new coffee. Give it a try. Try it. Cheers. See what you think. Try it. How is it? Pretty good?
I like it.
Enough cream?
Yeah, good.
You think?
Yeah.
Try it. Now make sure, because before I go, I want to make sure you got enough in there. Yeah? A little bit more? Do you need it warmed up?
Good.
Really? Well, you know what? Come with me, because I could use your help to warm mine up if you don't mind. Come on with me. Cindy? Come on. Thank you. You're the best. I don't know what I'd do without you. Now, what was my real goal? I wanted to go to the bathroom. What haven't I said a word about? What have I done? Created a positive relationship, gotten her up, we're going somewhere. We are going to stop by and we're going to mess with my coffee, but guess what's right out there? The bathroom. And I'll say, oh, as long as we're up, come on, let's go in here. And I might even say, well, let's wash our hands before we do anything. Go in the bathroom, do that, go to the bathroom. What you just saw me do was a way of engaging that was just right. What I was doing before was making her feel less. And this time it was basically engaging. I was a partner with her. And when we did it together, I brought my coffee, she had her coffee. I actually had a thing of water to the side in case she didn't want the coffee. Well, try this instead. You know how it is, you dry out, and I know you really like, let me see your skin. Ways to help people want to do what you want, but you got to create the just right challenge.
All right, so that was the just right technique, power of invitation, really asking them to help you, saying, oh, I'm so hungry. Will you come eat with me? I don't want to eat by myself. Because if you ask them, oh, are you hungry? They might say no, right? And then what do? Try to convince them to eat anyways. Tell them, well, you haven't eaten yet today. Your blood sugar is going to drop low if you don't eat anything. They don't care about that. So it's more, hey, come eat with me. I don't want to eat alone. Come help me with my coffee like she did. I need to do some exercise. Would you take a walk with me? And then we also want to make sure that we're always using the 10-second rule. So like we were talking about, that people with dementia have a slower processing time due to the changes in their brain. Whenever you ask them a question or you tell them to do something, you really need to give them 10 seconds for that message to fully process. They cannot instantly do what you say or instantly give you an answer. And then sometimes what happens is when we don't get a response, we think, you know what, maybe I gave them too much information and I should shorten it. So we start out with, do you want breakfast? We don't get a response. So then we say, do you want to eat? Well, what you really did was you started them back to the starting line, because now instead of thinking about, do they want breakfast, they have to think about, do I want to eat? So instead, what you should do is ask the question, state what you want them to do, wait 10 seconds, repeat yourself the exact same way, wait another 10 seconds, and then if you don't get a response, then you can rephrase the question or simplify what you are saying. And I want to show you guys how long 10 seconds is to show that we truly we do not wait this long for answers, nor are we comfortable with this pause. So 1 second. So here's 10 seconds and go. All right. Did that seem like an extremely long time to wait for an answer or response from someone? Probably so, right? We're used to immediate answers, but that's truly how long someone with dementia needs in order to fully process. So we're almost done, but I want to show this next video. This is an older video by Tipa Snow, but a really good one, and it shows the proper way to approach someone with dementia. And this is something that we teach all the caregivers that go through MOSAIC training.
So far, we've talked about dementia and Alzheimer's disease and some of the symptoms and behaviors you're typically going to see. These folks will present unique challenges to your caregiving. What we want to focus on now is building your skills, teaching you ways to be successful when you work with people with dementia. What we're going to do now is work on some skill building. And Thaddeus, if I could have you come up and join me in the chair. As we've sort of given you the hint, the big change that you're going to have by the end of the day is how you interact. Okay? And we're going to start off with your approach, because how you approach people makes a big difference in what happens next. One of the first things that we sometimes do with people with dementia is we come up from behind them and we'll just touch them. Okay? Or let me just do something for you here. Thaddeus, how's this working for you?
It's okay.
It's okay? You okay with that? All right, you're doing all right? Not bothering you at all?
Not yet.
Not yet? How long would it take?
Just a little while.
And what would you feel like doing? What do you sort of feel like getting away? Okay. Human beings are pretty much hardwired to protect themselves. And one of the things we don't like is when things come up and we can't see them coming. It makes us very uncomfortable. Okay. And it actually elicits an automatic reaction. Okay. It's called flight, fight, or fright. Okay. Now, imagine instead of being in a nice, comfortable classroom, we're in a dark part of town, late at night, you've locked your keys in your car. You start to hear and feel something come up behind you then. Now what?
Yeah, now I just want to run.
Now you just want to run, okay? And some folks tend to be more flight people, fight people, or fright. If you're a fight person, what's going to happen? You're going to turn around and get popped or yelled at, that kind of thing. What if you're a flight person? They're going to take off, okay? And what if you're a fright person? You just totally freeze up. And you will see people literally, when they're approached and they have dementia, they'll latch onto a chair and they can't let go. And that's fright. That's just pure fright. So let me do one more thing here. Hey, Thaddeus.
Hey, Tuba.
Do I look as good as I think I do? No. And the reason I don't is I'm too close. I'm at a funny angle. My eyes are tipped to the side. And it's really difficult to sort of figure out what's going on here. When might this happen? When can you see this sort of happening?
Wheelchair? Or?
Wheelchairs. You come up behind people in wheelchairs? Yeah, where else?
At a table.
At a dining table. Yeah, that happens a lot. I recognize Thaddeus and I say, hey, Thaddeus, how you doing today? And with lack of impulse control, I might get myself in trouble. So the first rule on approach is always come from within visual range. Always approach where they can see you. Give them a chance to know you're coming. So you want to come from the front so that they know you're coming in. Now he can process the information, sort of figure out, oh, there's somebody coming, if he's capable of doing that, if his brain's still able to do that. Now pull your feet back, Thaddeus, for this next one. Okay, you ready? All right, you ready? You sure you're ready? Okay. He was ready. What happened?
We all kind of went back.
Y'all kind of went back in sympathy, right? Coming in too fast, not giving him time to figure out what's going to happen results in, Thaddeus already told us, he tends to flight. He wants to get away. So what was he doing? Yeah. Trying to get away. Now, somebody who tends to be a fighter, what might I see? Push me back away or grab me and try to shake me or do something to me. Who started it? I did. Okay, I came in too fast. Now, I'm not saying that caregivers race up, but in the mind of somebody who is damaged with Alzheimer's disease, it feels like you're coming in really fast. The other thing I do is, okay, Thaddeus, let's get those shoes off, because, come on, pull your, Thaddeus, come on now, let's get your, okay, because I know what I want to have done, and I never check in with Thaddeus and make sure he knows what I want to do. And so what happens is conflict, because I came in too fast. So the rule is come from the front, okay? Second rule is go slow. And it's 1 second, 1 step. So it's 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3. It gives him a chance to figure out what's going on. Okay? Now, we've come from the front, we go slow, still have an opportunity to ruin it. I'm going to stand right in front of him, and I'm going to smile real big. How's that working for you, Thaddeus?
Kind of awkward.
Kind of awkward. Uh-huh. Yeah, what about if I do this?
You know, I think I've done something wrong.
How about if I do this?
I know I've done something wrong.
Okay. Yeah, because it takes you back to those days. This stance is actually called confrontational stance. Think about it in real life. When do you use it?
It's when you're disciplining it.
When you want to get in somebody's face. You really are like trying to gain intimidation. Is that what we want to do with people with dementia? No, because it's going to call that kind of response that we don't want to see, which is the anger, the lack of impulse control. So instead of getting right here in confrontational stance, I want to move to the side. Feel different?
Yeah, you're more kind of where I can deal with you on my own. terms.
What if you don't like what I'm saying? What can you do?
You just turn away.
Yeah. This stance is called supportive stance. Okay, I'm here to support him. Now I want to maintain arm's reach. I don't want to be like this, because we're back to the same old problem. Arm's length, so that I could reach out like this. He feels a lot more comfortable with that. I'm less likely to get that automatic reaction. Okay, so to put it together so far, come from the front, nice and slow, and come to the side. Feel better?
Much.
You sure?
It was much better over there.
Much better over there, yeah. The other thing you'll notice is he smiled. Did that mean he was happy? No. What was it?
I was comfortable.
Yeah, that nervous kind of, it's sort of, you'll see people with dementia do that a lot with caregivers. They'll smile and they'll, doesn't mean they're happy. They're anxious and nervous and they're trying to figure out how to make this work. Now, here I am to the side, looks pretty good, but I want to get to eye level, right? What do you think?
You're too close.
Too close, too close. So bending over to get down doesn't work. What does work, however, hey, how's that feel?
It's much better because it's lower.
Who feels like they're in control?
I do.
That is.
Who's in control?
You are.
Yeah, but did I actually give up anything here? But I did, because that Thaddeus feels in control now. Who's more likely to cooperate with me?
I am.
Yeah, absolutely. I still have one more chance to ruin it here. Let me grab hold of him. Come on, let's go. What's the automatic reaction? Pull back. I want to make my job more difficult because it's not hard enough. That's a facetious question. What I really want to do is think about, how can I get him to work with me? So instead, what I'm going to do is offer my hand out here and let him take my hand. Hey, who's more likely to cooperate with me? Somebody who's offered his hand, or somebody who's been taken? Offered their hand, because that signifies an interest in participating. So if I put it together, it's going to look like something like, come from the front, go slow, get to the side, get low, offer your hand. Now I want to call the person by name, okay, and make sure he's connected with me.
And then she goes into the hand under hand technique, which can be very useful in working with someone with dementia. So if you guys are interested in learning more about that, you can find that online. We do teach all the caregivers at Azura how to use the hand under hand technique. But just some final takeaways. These are just kind of like some 10 tips on Alzheimer's communication. So never argue, instead agree. Never reason, instead divert. Never shame, instead distract. Never lecture, instead reassure. Never say remember, instead reminisce. Never say I told you, instead repeat or regroup. Never say you can't, instead do what they can. Never command or demand, instead ask or model. Never condescend, instead encourage. And never force, instead reinforce. And so just some online resources that you guys can access is, if you go to demtalk.org.uk, this is a free web-based toolkit to help improve communication with people with dementia. And then there is also a dementiadictionary.com. So like I was saying, as I'm a dementia interpreter, so this is actually a website that you can go to with any kind of situation that you're dealing with, that you can put out there, and a whole team of dementia interpreters all can kind of weigh in on what that could possibly be. So like if it's something, that they're continuously doing, like, maybe it's someone that keeps peeing in the garbage can, and you're trying to figure out, well, why would they, keep doing that, or why are they hoarding napkins in their dresser drawer? You could put that question on Dementia Dictionary and get some answers back. So that could be very helpful. So did anybody, I know we're like 4 minutes over, but did anybody have any questions? I did record this training, and we'll send out the recording and the PowerPoint for those of you that maybe want to share it with other family or friends. Any questions? No? Okay, well, thank you guys for all jumping on. I hope that you maybe got something out of this that you can use to communicate with your loved one. Our next topic next month is when Grandpa forgets. So it's really talking about Alzheimer's with children. So because sometimes that can be a difficult situation where grandchildren don't understand what's going on with grandma or grandpa or things like that. So, and that will be by Holly Kemp, who is a dementia expert in the field. She's got, decades of experience. She worked at the Alzheimer's Association for many years, and she's created and started numerous memory care programs throughout the country. So, all right, take care, everyone. Thank you.
You.